I'll be honest, dude. I can't believe, and I mean, or maybe I can, right? Maybe I can believe it. You know what I'm saying? That she's on a show and they're having Jack Posobiec as the guest. They're talking about Diddy and Epstein. I don't know how they could be talking about Epstein without talking about Donald Trump. But so Jack Posobiec is this guy. He is a former One American News Network anchor, right? Dude, he is a white supremacist, like through and through. There is no other way of describing Jack Posobiec that doesn't include him simply being a white supremacist. The Southern Poverty Law Center has had a dossier, I guess, open analysis of this guy for years. Okay. Now, if you look on Twitter, the End Wokeness account that is constantly propagating anti-LGBTQ and racist. I mean, dude, he's likely the guy behind the End Wokeness account. There have been some digital forensic studies looking into that. But Jack Posobiec, you may have remembered him from when they had White Boy Summer. This is the guy that we're about to see Anna Kasparian hanging out with. There he is. All right, watch this intro. Isn't that crazy? This is the guy that now, today, we're about to watch on Her Take. They are just straight up with it. Like straight out avowed. I mean, hoods off. And this was during the campaign. If you look at Posobiec, he was briefly in the military. Okay, he was a piss boy. He was the guy when they did military piss testing. He was the dude who carried the piss. Essentially, that was his job. But then what he did was he came out of that and he started making claims to being CIA connected and all this other shit, which is how he embedded himself into that far right movement. And he very quickly, went from One American News Network right up into, being one of the front voices of white supremacy. And if you look at him way back when, Posobiec and Joe Biggs, these two guys were very heavily connected and tied together. He's well connected to the Proud Boys, to, all of those groups, J6, the whole deal. Okay. And so he is deeply connected to the alt-right Twitter, the network of people that Elon Musk has elevated to the top of the heap over on Twitter ever since he jacked it. But they're there doing the little, homage to the white supremacy symbols and all that shit. He's deeply connected to these guys. He's super, white nationalist. He's super neo-Nazi. He's now one of the big bigs. And now Anna Kasparian and Lindy Li and everybody on the Her Take podcast are hanging out with the avowed white supremacist and, White Boy Summer.
You're all incredibly excited to welcome Jack Posobiec to the show.
Dude, we're all incredibly excited to welcome Jack Posobiec to the show. Why the fuck are any of them excited to welcome this fucking douchebag, white supremacist, White Boy Summer, complete fucking degenerate? Okay? You know what I'm saying? Why are they excited to welcome this guy to the show? This guy's a fucking loser, bro.
I will not be giving her take. I don't know if this is a pronoun thing, but that is definitely
we
not
don't
mine.
do pronouns.
Oh, I'm so disappointed. Oh, pronoun thing? Yeah, it's no pronouns. It's no pronouns. We're just calling the show Take. Right? What's your show called? take. No pronouns. Oh, he had to mention pronouns right off the bat. Next thing you know, he's going to be like, what is a woman? Lindy, what is a woman? Anna Kasparian, before you talk to me, what is a woman? What is a Kiwi? What is an incognito internet browser?
Okay. The other element that is lesser so proven, and I don't even think this is going to be a discussion in the court cases because it kind of leads towards the more conspiratorial side, but there is something to be said about the occult and the way the occult sometimes rears its ugly head, both politically, in the entertainment industry, and various other things, that I think there could be some element of that as well. Some actual evil.
Dude, the occult stuff is such fucking bullshit. Like, it is such, like, glory tugging, right? This is like some 4chan level shit when you start, the occult. Oh, yeah, they're all praying for wealth and fame. Dude.
I think there could be some element of that as well. Some actual evil.
What does that mean? I don't think I can see one more, and no offense, Jack.
Actual evil.
I feel like when the right starts throwing around demons all the time, you're losing me, guys. You're losing me. Like, when we get into the whole, like, it's demonic. And
do you not believe that there are people who are in Hollywood, politicians, etc., who actually practice Satanism?
Not really.
You don't believe in that at all?
I just think it's narcissism.
But do you think whether or not you believe it isn't the question? The question is, what if they believe it?
Exactly.
But give me the evidence.
See, the reason why I'm even watching this is because I know we're talking about Diddy here, but this concept of, like, evil is literally what is fueling the MAGA movement, because they're jacked up on religion. Now, when you start talking about Satanism and sacrificing animals and shit and whatever, all these like Satan fame cults, that shit is literally the same thing as Christianity, guys. Christianity is a bunch of people, like, getting into pews and, like, getting on their hands and knees and taking sacraments and, like, praying, and some of them are speaking in tongues and all this shit, and they're believing that God is blessing them with riches and, like, protecting Donald Trump, and they're literally talking about Democrats being demons. They're talking about LGBTQ people being demons. You know what I mean? And so what's wild about this is this preoccupation with religion, with the Satan and the God, and this idea that if you're not on God's side, you're a demon, you're a devil, you're Satan, is like, people are really melting their fucking brains with this shit right now. In America, our government, we have lawmakers that are making laws based on their fucking fairy tale book, like, inner beliefs about LGBTQ people being like Satan trying to, like, commandeer your children. This is serious fucking shit, right? You might wake up one day in a database where you say the wrong thing, you get shipped to El Salvador because of some fucking weirdo that's, like, reading the Bible every day and convinced that because you have a rainbow flag on your shirt, you're a fucking Beelzebub or some minion of, you know what I mean? Like, these people are fucking whacked out.
It's that they believe it. I grew up in California. These are people, yes, they're you know, they pray to the God of the almighty dollar and power. And a lot of times when you have a lot of money...
These parties are the evidence, though. There's spirit cooking parties that have gone on. There are these types of parties that have gone on.
You can cook spirits?
You can literally, anyone can look this stuff up. That
I'm not going to try to make
Lady
fun.
Gaga and Marina Abramovich have been all involved with in
Now, Marina Abramovich, dude, she is an artist, okay, that has done some pretty crazy artwork. She gets painted as, like, this outlandish creature because she does really startling art that explores, like, the darker impulses of humanity. But again, it's this weird sort of retreat back to, you know, the MAGA movement, where they sort of retreat back to this idea of everything they don't understand must be the occult, right? If you do something that is outlandish, whether it's your sexual behavior, your gender behavior, how you dress or present yourself physically, or the type of art you engage in, or if you openly explore the darker parts of your personality that these fuckers like to pretend don't exist, except in their incognito internet browsers. If you do that, they like want to assign an occult sort of entity to you. You must be the devil, like a necromantic, you know what I mean? And that's really primitive, like lack of critical thinking, you know, roll back and pray to the fucking rainfall kind of shit, you know?
Where they invite Hollywood high-level celebrities to these things.
Do you think
To
it's genuine
cook
and not
spirit.
just a show?
Wait,
And,
what the hell is spirit cooking? Hold on. Come on. Hold on. I can't, this is where you guys. Okay,
You're 4
but
minutes in.
Is it gluten-free or?
Well, thank you for backing me up, Jack.
See, the thing about this, though, is this guy, I don't know how much he believes this shit or if he just pretends he believes it, but this guy, this white supremacist guy right here, who is a deeply sort of evangelical, like a white power evangelical Christian, this guy believes this shit in as much as he uses it as a way to like attach it to the Democratic Party or to wokeness or to any means of existing that he disagrees with, right? If you're gay, then you're part of this cult. I mean, this guy was part of the Pizzagate sex ring in the basement of the pizza that didn't exist, right? This guy was the main voice behind that shit, creating that fucking conspiracy thing. So he'll do any conspiracy that sort of radicalizes those like right-wing evangelicals.
I'm just saying, these parties exist, the Bohemian Grove exists, all of these things exist, whether it's real or not.
All I can say is this, as far as spirit cooking goes, I was just under blankets for like 5 days with COVID, and I guarantee you my spirit was cooking, all right? You know what I'm saying? My spirit was fucking cooking!
We can set that aside.
Okay.
But what you can't say is that these parties aren't real and that there aren't people who do, and in the past, have given these things credence and believe that they have power and do take part in
You're saying
them.
like satanic parties?
Yes.
Yes.
Are you sure that it's genuine belief, or are they just putting on a show to entertain? Because I'm not convinced that Lady Gaga is actually a Satan worshiper. I think she just wants attention.
The struggle.
I think some of them are. Some people are probably more so puppets, but then...
Dude, isn't that funny to hear Lindy Li talk about Lady Gaga saying she just wants attention? Dude, oh my God, like Lady Gaga is so filled with power and talent and humanity in every fiber of her being. She is so good at every artistic endeavor. And Lindy Li is like, no, she's just trying to get attention.
I think there are a lot of people who do genuinely believe it. And I mean,
Who though? Based on what though?
a lot of them
I believe
believe
it.
that they need to literally
completely
sell
believe
their
it.
soul. They believe they need to sell their soul for some level of fame or power or whatever it is. And they believe that in doing that and undergoing these ritualistic practices, that they will achieve their ends.
Where
I can-
are you
I can
getting this?
Have you ever looked into it there?
No, but I know they sell their soul. Okay, they sell their soul when they give Harvey Weinstein, I don't want to say,
The moment on the couch.
favors. Okay,
Right.
bingo. So, but that's not Satanism. That's a casting couch.
Yeah.
Is it unfortunate? Yes. Is it gross and particularly dark? Yes. But is this a satanic ritual? You're losing
Could
me
you,
here.
okay, could you believe, though, that for certain levels of people, they view it as sort of a rite of initiation? Like,
But you
we
just
all
gotta
did
show
this,
me evidence that
so
these
you had to
people
do
do
this.
this.
Can we bring this back down to earth and
Do
just
it.
talk about the more
Yeah,
pragmatic
but that's what the
issue?
case is all. That's literally what she's talking about.
Well,
That is this case.
The case is
That's
that
why people are
Hollywood-
interested in it.
Hollywood is
Where's the-
fundamentally depraved. And I brought this up when we were talking about it earlier.
Dude, Hollywood is fundamentally depraved. And you know who's depraved? Are people who fucking spend hours every week in fucking churches, bro. And then they're running around wanting to do genital checks in the bathroom, right? That's fucking depraved.
I think the Democratic Party is almost complicit because they idolize these people.
Lindy, listen to me. I love you. We got to get off the bone with the Democratic Party a little bit. I get it. But let's... I could easily point to things the other side has done, and that's the go-to these days because they've wronged you so significantly, and I do appreciate it. But...
Dude, first off, let's just pause here and say, number one, Donald Trump is a reality TV star in Hollywood. So is a bunch of his cabinet. Okay, so this whole Hollywood, you know why Hollywood is even connected to Democrats? It's real simple, guys. It's not some fucking satanic death cult. It's simply because of personal freedom. If you rolled back at a time when the whole world was oppressive and, nobody had any fucking rights or power, Hollywood was still a safe haven for LGBTQ. It was a safe haven for people that lived outside the fucking stereotypical norm. The arts have always been like that. Whether it was Hollywood or Broadway in New York, the arts have always been a place where non-typical, atypical lifestyles were accepted and allowed, and people just hushed about it. Okay, so it's not like the Democrats are in some satanic death cult. It's just Hollywood has been a space where you don't have to be a crew-cut haired fucking white dude. You know what I mean? Diversity and acceptance of all different kinds of people has been a Hollywood thing for a long fucking time.
And another elephant in the room on this show, again, I'll take responsibility, Epstein. So you've got Attorney General Pam Bondi being secretly recorded at a lunch admitting that there are 10,000 tapes and then being forced into this impromptu press conference to do damage control. So let's take a look here.
Her press office.
There are tens of thousands of videos. Yeah, and it's all with little kids.
There are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn.
And somehow nobody blinked about that, by the way. And then you've got Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, two guys who question everything.
Two fucking weirdos.
Turning around and saying it's unilaterally confirmed that Epstein was a suicide. Let's take one more look at this one.
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself.
Dude, Bongino, he killed himself.
That looks like a hostage video.
It does.
Real. I'm keeping it real, yes.
True.
Jack, I was going to go to you first on this one. Thoughts?
You were at the White House.
It's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah, so I mean, a couple things. I mean, obviously, I haven't seen everything that they've seen. I would love to see if there are tapes. I want to see all the tapes. There were some photos that came out. I'd love to see.
Jack Posobiec wants to see all the tapes, especially the ones that show children being violated.
I want to see the evidence. That's what it comes down to for everything on that. But when it comes to the tapes and the files, and you mentioned, I was in this. I have gone to the White House. I have asked for the Epstein files, and there was this, binder that we were given from DOJ, which I don't think necessarily was meant in bad faith, but unfortunately, a lot of the material that we had in that binder had already been seen. There were a few pieces that that were new, but it wasn't substantially new, and that's the thing everybody wants. Because at the end of the day, we keep hearing, the Epstein tapes, the Epstein files, and it's coming. So when you gas up people like that and you tell them that, hey, this is right around the corner, TikTok, and it's about to come out, you have to actually deliver at some point.
And it was a campaign promise. It's something that I was definitely interested in Trump actually carrying out and doing.
Well, and the question is that I would prefer a lot more, and I think there does need to be more transparency on this, is she mentions the 10,000 tapes. Are there 10,000 tapes? Do you have possession of them, or have you heard of them?
Exactly, yeah.
Or was this something that was potentially destroyed by agents or whoever have you, and we're not going to see them at all.
Jack, do you think we're going to get an additional onslaught of files, or is this it? Like,
dude, I love how they're asking this guy, do you think we're going to get this? This guy doesn't know shit, bro. This guy is a performer for the reality TV show of like young white supremacists in America, right? Like a fucking tug job of the Proud Boys, you know what I mean? End wokeness, Twitter fucking goon. And they're like, oh, like, what do you think? You know, the only thing this guy specializes in is making up fucking lies about pedal rings at pizza parlors and any other conspiracy weirdo shit he can dig up, right? To get, you know, religious people all fucking jacked up. Dude, he is like a pre-Cambrian fucking jackhole, dude. And I mean, even them giving him airtime is like the lowest. Like, I don't know if Anna Kasparian's gonna sink any lower. Like, maybe a Nick Fuentes hand job would be one step below this guy. That's it. That, like, you know what I mean? Like, she is scraping the bottom of the barrel.
I wouldn't hold my breath at this point.
Right.
I really wouldn't hold my breath.
Right. I wanted to ask you, what do you think was their intention when they did that publicity stunt? Because surely they should have known that people are going to realize that it's a whole nothing burger, that most of the stuff's redacted or it's already been seen. What impression do you think they were trying to give when they did that? And did they just not have the foresight to think ahead and have everybody realize?
Yeah, I think it could have been handled better, obviously. And having been look, they invited us in and we're there. And by the way, this was not just a one-on-one kind of thing. So there were different, Bobby Kennedy came in.
Dude, I would pay like $5,000 to swing a 9-iron at this guy. The fucking, you know what I mean? I think I would, dude. I would go to the ATM right now and withdraw $5,000 if I could swing a golf club at his head. Dude, whoa, shit, who is this pant load? Dude, that's hilarious. Dude, I love that phrase. Who is this pant load? This is Jack Posobiec.
Secretary of Health and Human Services, Caroline Leavitt came in, Vice President Vance came in. So
Pam Bondi
there were,
was there too,
and then Pam Bondi came in, so along with Kash Patel. So it wasn't like it was a one-on-one, and we didn't even hear the words Epstein files when we were all brought in.
Oh,
and
really?
so there were a bunch of new media figure. It was just sort of a new media day at the White House. So I'm there, and a bunch of other influencer types are there. DC Drano, lives at TikTok.
Scott Pressler was there.
Scott Pressler, yeah. And
dude, just huge losers, right? DC Drano and fucking libs of TikTok and just the biggest fucking losers on the internet were there.
Did you feel at any point that maybe all the folks that were included in this were kind of just used as pawns to give the illusion that the Trump administration released the Epstein files?
I don't know, because what I was going to say was that, again, there was no communication beforehand about, that these files or these binders would even be presented. And actually, it was just sort of said, hey, do you guys want to see the Epstein files? Well, yes, obviously. And then someone just walks, like a staffer just walks in the room with a stack of binders. Oh, wow, what is this? And so we're trying to, kind of go through it, but we're also in the meeting, so you don't really have time to track all, and it's long and it's textual, so you can't search it or anything. And then all of a sudden, you have to go to your next meeting. Well, and it just so happened, supposedly, that Keir Starmer, who had just become the Prime Minister of the UK, was about to show up like 10 minutes after. So he was basically going to be in the room right after us. So when we leave the West Wing portico, the entire media is there with all the cameras out, and everyone's set up waiting for the PM, not for us.
Oh, I see.
And so they say, hey, what are Poso and Cernovich and all these guys doing holding all these binders? And what does that binder say? And point being is, I don't necessarily think that it was intentional. I think it was just a series of unfortunate events that kind of played out in a way that...
Again, what it is Trump and his cronies and the Republicans are incredibly incompetent. Yeah, he doesn't know shit, but they're just completely fucking incompetent. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't. That's why one day it's 100% tariffs, the next day it's 30%, then it's 150, then it's 18, yada, 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 right? You know, Trump is like, Joe Biden was replaced by a robot. Then he's like, the auto pen is being ruled by Lucifer, right? You know what I mean? I mean, dude, they're just completely fucking idiots that don't know what they're doing. They don't have any plan. They're flying by the seat of their pants, and they're incompetent and fucking stupid as shit. Okay?
Looked bad online, but I really don't think it was intentional.
My prediction is that we're never going to get any information about those tapes. You know, Pam Bondi framed it as, you know, it's tapes of Epstein himself, you know, doing these things.
That's what she had to
The reason why I think that we're not going to ever know anything about the tapes, see them, know who's in them, is because it's not just Epstein.
Of course not.
I think a lot of people in positions of power in this country have been implicated in those tapes, and either those tapes have already been destroyed or they're doing whatever it takes to prevent them from being released.
Can I bring up one thing?
Dude, it is Trump. Let's go.
Benny Johnson told me that I did not know. And when I did some fact checking on it, it turns out everything he told me was true.
So, okay, one thing Benny Johnson, who got paid millions of dollars from Russia, told Jillian some true shit.
He starts out by talking about a gentleman named Donald Barr, who was a part of OSS, which apparently was the precursor to the CIA. Donald Barr apparently takes Epstein under his wing, gives him this job at the financial institution, and is also the one who connects Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell.
Robert Maxwell,
Bingo.
her father, and then she, you know, is introduced to Epstein through her father.
Right. And supposedly Robert Maxwell has ties to Mossad. So now you have ties to CIA, ties to Mossad, and then if we just continue to skip
As
forward,
well as the royal family.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So if you continue to skip forward, right, no one knows where the money for his funds came from. That's all weird. But it turns out, to circle this all the way back to the friggin' Cash Patel Dan Bongino tape clip that we just ran, the guy who signed Epstein's death certificate is Donald Barr's son, Bill Barr. What are the odds? Just like, really?
Well, the odds, though, Jillian, are the fact that I will point out that the real connection there around Epstein is Trump, okay? Because it was Trump and Bill Barr, okay? It was Trump and Alex Acosta, who is the guy who he elevated to labor secretary, who was the attorney down in Florida that let Epstein off and gave him immunity when he got busted, okay? Epstein gets busted 20 years ago. An attorney named Alex Acosta is like making a deal with all the victims to prosecute this guy. Then he goes behind the victim's back, gives Jeffrey Epstein immunity, lets him off on all the charges. The victims go apeshit. What the fuck are you doing? How the fuck can you do this to us? Acosta just gets hammered from all sides. Well, what happens? 10 years later, Donald Trump makes Alex Acosta the labor secretary. He gives the motherfucker a cabinet position, right? As a thank you for giving Epstein immunity. Then the shit hits the fan with Epstein later. They find out the link. Acosta has to step down and sort of fall on the sword, right? Next thing you know, Epstein gets arrested, ends up dead. Okay? You know what I'm saying? Like the link amongst all of it is fucking Donald Trump. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. You like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.